Greetings for the day. Today's topic is about provider gap 3, which focus on delivering and performing service. Since GAP's model of service quality has been recently discussed, I will focus more on service delivery and service delivery policies. This delivery gap is the difference between service delivery policies and standards and the actual delivery of the service. According to Casper et al., this gap reflects management's incorrect translation of the service policy into rules and guidelines for employees. These include poor service design, failure to maintain and continually update their provision of good customer service, or simply lack of a standard. This lead for the customer to seek a similar product with a better service elsewhere. This gap also exposes the weakness in employee performance organizations, with a delivery gap may specify the service required to support consumers but have failed to train their employees or put good processes and guidelines in action. As a result, employees are ill-equipped to manage consumer needs. For example, if Netflix were to suffer from this gap, then it because when the customer selects the show they want to watch it takes 10 minutes to play. In this case, the product isn't performing as it should be. And another example is if a restaurant was to suffer from this gap, then it could be that when the customer orders the tenderloin beef from the menu, they are informed that the kitchen has run out. In this case, supply hasn't been adequately matched to demand. Why this gap occurs is there's a number of reasons for this. Deficiencies in human resource policies, failure to match supply demand, employee lack of knowledge of the product, lack of cohesive teamwork to deliver the product or service. To close the gap 3, a company must ensure service performance that meets the standard. They must align the firm's human resource strategies around delivering service excellence. A firm needs to ensure that employees are willing and able to deliver quality service and that they are motivated to perform in customer-oriented, service-minded ways. Organization must hire the right people, develop the employee to deliver service quality, and retain the best people. Service employees need service competencies, the skills and knowledge.
Service employees are responsible for understanding customer needs and for interpreting customer requirements in real time. By developing strategies that lead to effective customer-oriented service, organizations can begin to close the service performance gap. We also have here the emotional labor, which is the process of managing feelings and expressions to fulfill the emotional requirements of a job. We also have four examples or sources of potential conflict. First, you have the personal or role. Role conflicts occur when an employee is split between two roles that are incompatible. Next, you have the organization or client. It arises when a customer requests service that violate the rules of the organization. Then we have the inter-client conflict, which happens when there are incompatible expectations and requirements for two or more customers. And lastly, we have the quality and productivity. Employees experience conflict when standardization is violated and productivity is threatened. They use strategies for coping with the problems. They ensure quality while maintaining productivity. Next, I'm going to discuss the boundary spanners and how they interact with both internal and external constituents. Boundary spanning jobs require employees to interact with external stakeholders whose objectives and values might diverge substantially from those of the organization they represent. Gaining insight from other departments or organizations you may not be aware of is useful. Boundary spanning roles interact with individuals and groups outside and inside the organization to obtain valuable information to help the innovation process. It allows a company to gain more innovation information from other businesses. Not just management is involved in boundary spanning. All employees can get information from one or more companies and bring information back to their business to help improve innovation.
This is the source of conflict for boundary spanning workers. And let's talk about the common conflict of one organization and its employees, client, and its service quality and productivity. The first one here is person versus role, organization versus client, client versus client, quality versus productivity. There are four examples of conflict of the workers. Let's move on to human resource. In this chart, it shows the techniques and strategies that an organization needs to do in order to run it smoothly, and this chart tends to avoid those conflicts and boundaries that hinders the success of one organization, and it practices the employees traits not just for the employees but for the clients and the service quality productivity that an organization provides.
Customers' roles in service delivery. First is the importance of other customers in service delivery. So other customers could negatively impact satisfaction by disruptive behaviors, excessive crowding, and incompatible needs. So first, the disruptive behaviors. Some customers might sometimes impulsively buy a product or avail a service without knowing its background or without knowing how that specific product or that service can affect them. And once they have already tried and tested that product or that service and it didn't meet their expectations, the aggression towards the product or that service may start, and also the aggressiveness towards the staff members may start, which can lower their level of satisfaction. So next, for the excessive crowding might negatively impact satisfaction because excessive crowding results from few to zero products left on your services or on your brand, and it might lead to customers dissatisfaction because they weren't able to purchase a product from you, or they weren't able to avail a service because of excessive crowding. So next is incompatible needs. So in incompatible needs, some customers might not find their needs on your services or on your products, and that's why it can result to customers dissatisfaction also. So next is other customers may improve satisfaction by mere presence, socialization or friendships, on roles, assistants, teachers, and supporters. So their mere presence. A customer presence might impact satisfaction by for example, once that customer is happy or satisfied by the product that he or she availed, that specific customer can introduce your product or that service to other people, which might lead to more or to higher level of satisfactions of customers. So socialization and friendships. In socialization and friendships, once that customer is satisfied by your product or your service, and also to your staff members, and it's like that customer has already built a relationship towards that brand or towards that specific staff member who assisted him or her on availing the product or that service. So it can lead to higher level of satisfaction.
Okay, so this is the how customers within gap. So first of all is a lack of awareness of their responsibilities. So a lot of customers, they don't know what to do when they are entering a restaurant or a mall. They are not aware what the rules of the mall or what are the restaurant's rules. Okay, we are not perfect that we all know the rules of the establishment. Being unwilling or unable of fulfilling the rules. So like for example is that not wearing the mask all the time. No incentives exist for excellent performance. So basically, we don't let them know they're doing their job well. So that can be a challenge. Neglecting the needs of other customers and discordant market sectors. So customer segmentation is a process in which a business evaluates their customer base. So next is strategies for enhancing customer participation. Okay, so number one is define customer's job. So clarify the degree of involvement, determine particular rules, recognize the effect on output and quality. Second is the recruit, educate, reward customers. Determine and hire the suitable segment. Prepare the audience for the rules. Give motivation for taking part. Reward customer achievement. And manage the customer mix. Assess compatibility of segment. Isolate incompatible segments. Enhance segment compatibility. So here in recruit and educate means that clarifying the rules and responsibilities of the customer before they subscribe for the service. This can be done through advertising, personal selling, or company websites, or personal guidance and counseling. If the customer is willing to adhere to requisite rules and responsibilities, only then he or she should to be encouraged to take up the service. So that's what the recruit, educate, and reward customers. These are the three parts of the effective customer participation, which is define customers' jobs, recruit, educate, and reward customers, and manage the customer mix.
Delivering service through intermediaries. There are three types of strategies, which are control strategies, partnering strategies, and empowerment strategies. Under control strategies, the services are being measured and reviewed. Partnering strategies are the alignment of goals, consultation, and cooperation. The empowerment strategies help the intermediary to develop customer-oriented service process, provide needed support systems, develop intermediaries to deliver service quality, and change to a cooperative management structure. Management and demand capacity. The underlying issue is lack of inventory capability. Capacity constraints, demand patterns, strategies for matching capacity and demand, yield management, which are balancing capacity utilization, pricing, market segmentation, and financial return. Waiting line strategies is when demand and capacity cannot be matched.
Strategies for shifting demand to match capacity. If the demand is too high, first, use signage to communicate busy days and times. By using signage to communicate busy days and times, it helps them to know the times of peak demand so that they can choose to use the service at alternative times and avoid crowding or delays. Next, offer incentives to the customers for usage during non-peak times. By offering incentives to the customers, it will help to promote customers' loyalty. Next, take care of loyal or regular customers first. By taking care of your loyal customers, it increases profits, improves sales success, and allows for sustainable growth. We also need to advertise peak usage times and benefits of non-peak use. Lastly, charge full price for the service to no discounts. Next, if the demand is too low, use sales and advertising to increase business from current market segments. By using it, it allows you to target your content to the right people in the right way rather than targeting your entire audience with a generic message. Next, modify the service offering to appeal to new market segments. It helps the market to be more efficient in terms of time, money, and other resources. We need also to offer discounts or price reduction. By offering discounts, it can quickly drive sales. Next, we also need to modify hours of operation. Syempre, di ba? Lastly, bring the service to the customer. By bringing the service to the customer, we will be able to shape their business models in ways that will boost profitability and sales. Now we are moving to strategies for adjusting capacity to match capacity. Or such as match demand pala. Sorry. If the demand is too high, first, stretch time, labor, facilities, and equipment. Stretch time may be possible to extend the hours of service temporarily to accommodate demand. In stretch labor, many service organizations, employees are asked to work longer and harder during periods of peak demands. In stretch facilities, such as restaurants, meeting facilities, and classrooms, can sometimes be expanded temporarily by the additions of tables, chairs, or other equipment needed by the customers. Lastly, stretch equipment, such as computers, telephone lines, and maintenance equipment, can often be stretched beyond what would be considered the maximum capacities for short periods to accommodate peak demands. Next is the cross-train employees. Using cross-train employees, it saves organizations money because it eliminates the need for temporary workers to fill gaps when staffs or workflow changes. We also need to hire part-time employees. Next, request overtime work from employees. By requesting overtime from work employees, you will produce more goods or service and deliver them to customers at a faster rate. Next, we also need to rent, di ba? Syempre. Next, rent or share equipment. Rent or sharing equipment can save money. That's why other company wants to rent rather than buying their own equipment. Lastly, subcontract or outsource activities. It allows your business more flexibility than if you were to hire new permanent employees. Now, if the demand is too low, first, perform maintenance renovation. When performing maintenance renovation, it prolongs the life of your equipment, reduces downtime, and prevent costly emergencies repairs from occurring. Next, schedule vacations. When scheduling vacations, it reduces our stress in work. Next, we have here the schedule employee training. Schedule employee training, it helps us to provide organizational and time management support for the entire training program while providing clear information. And lastly, for this topic, is the layoff of employees. Layoff employees has a lot of reason, like staff reduction, relocation, and cost cutting. So that's all, and thank you for watching.